Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. How are you? I hope you are all well by the grace of Almighty. Welcome to NIABS Home School. I am Ashis Biswas, an assistant teacher of mathematics in National Ideal English Version School morning shift. Today I am going to take a math class for the student of class 5. Our today's topic is fraction. So let us start our topics. Okay. Our today's topic is fraction, which is in chapter 6. So let us start our first CBQ. First CBQ, Mr. Habib kept 1/4 portion of his property for himself and divided the rest of the property equally between his two children. Okay, I repeat, Mr. Habib kept 1/4 portion of his property for himself and divided the rest of the property equally between his two children. So the first question is, what portion was the rest of the property after Mr. Habib kept his property for himself? And number B question is, what portion of the property did each child get? Number C question is, if Mr. Habib has property of taka 2 lakh, then how much will each child get? My dear students, before starting to solve this math, at first you make a plan how to solve this math. So the first question is, what portion was the rest of the property Mr. Habib kept his property for himself? At first we want to know what portion of property Mr. Habib kept for himself. From the stem we can say that Mr. Habib kept 1/4 portion of his property. Suppose we consider the total property is 1. So we subtract this portion of property which Mr. Habib kept for himself, then we get the rest of the property. So so let us solve this first question. So at first A number, given that Mr. Habib kept 1/4 portion property for himself and let the total property be 1 portion. We need to find out the rest of the property. So how can we subtract 1/4 portion property from 1 portion property? Then we get the rest of the property. So 1 minus 1/4 portion. We know that every number has a denominator which is 1. So 1. Here we consider there is a denominator which is 1 and 1 and 4. Now we find out the LCM of 1 and 4. What is the LCM of 1 and 4? The LCM of 1 and 4 is 4. 1 and 4 is 4. Now we divide this 4 by this denominator, that means 1, and we get 4. And this 4 is multiplied with numerator, that means on. It will be 4 on the 4. And this subtraction sign is here, that means minus sign is here. Now we divide this LCM, that means 4 by this 4, and we get 1. 1 is multiplied with this numerator, that means on. 1 on the 1. Student notice, now we subtract 1 from 4 and we get 3. That means 3 and this denominator 4 is here. So 3/4 portion is the rest of the property of Mr. Habib. And you must write answer 3/4 portion. Student, if you don't write answer, some marks will be cut from your answer script. Okay. Now we go to our next question. Our next question is, what portion of the property did each child get? From this stem we say that Mr. Habib has 2 children. How many children? 2 children. 2 children. Okay, this information is needed to solve this math. So at first we read the stem. Divide the rest of the property. That means rest of the property be 1/4 portion. So from A we get the rest of the property of Mr. Habib is 3/4 portion, as this 3/4 portion is divided between his 2 children. From this information we can write 2 children got 3/4 portion property. So one child got how much? We divide 3/4 by 2. Okay, 3/4 divided by 2. Now we solve this math. That means at first we write 3/4. Okay, this division will be multiply sign. For this sign, this fraction will be reversed. That means is numerator will be denominator and denominator will be numerator. Okay, so we can write from this fraction this 1 by 2. Now we can write 3 multiply 1 and 4 multiply 2. So there is no common divisor between 3 and 2 and 3 and 4. So we multiply 3 with 1 and 4 with 2. So 3 ones are 3 and 4 twos are 8 portion. So each child gets how many portion? Each child get 3 by 8 portion, as 3 by 8 portion is the answer. You must write answer 3 by 8 portion. Okay, next we shall solve our third question. A third question is, if Mr. Habib has property of taka 2 lakh, how much will each child get? Okay, from B we get each child get 3 by 8 portion. So at first we write from B we get each child gets 3 by 8 portion, and in question number A we let we consider the total property be 1 portion. So here we also write let the total property be 1 portion. We know that from the stem we know that Mr. Habib has property of 2 lakh. So write given that Mr. Habib has property of 2 lakh. So the total property be 1 portion and the value of property be 2 lakh. So we can write from this information that the price of 1 portion property is 2 lakh. So we need to find out the amount of property in taka of each child. Here each child get 3 by 8 portions. So therefore the price of 3 by 8 portion property is taka 2 lakh multiplied with 3 by 8. So we multiply 2 lakh with 3 divided by 8, and now we cut this 2 lakh by 8. Cut this 2 lakh by 8. Okay, cut this 2 lakh by 8. If we cut this 2 lakh by 8, then we get 25,000, and this 25,000 is multiplied with 3. If we multiply these two number in short process, then we multiply first 25 with 3. 25 3s are 75. How many 0 is left? 1, 2, 3. So this 30 is put here. Okay. So the answer is 75,000 taka. That means we can say each child get the amount of 75,000 taka. So our first CBQ is done. Now we shall solve our second CBQ, which is your SW. I discuss this CBQ shortly. You have to solve this man just like the previous one. Okay. So at first read the question. 1 by 6 portion of a pole is in mud, half portion is in water, and the remaining portion is above water. Student, notice in mud the portion of a pole is 1 by 6 and in water 1 by 2 portion, but the portion above water is not given. The length of the portion above water is 2 meter. Here the portion is above water is not given, but the length of the portion above water is given, which is 2 meter. So the first question is, how much portion is there in water and mud? The question give you that information that in water there are half 1 by 2 portion, and in mud there are 1 by 6 portion. So how much portion is there in water and mud? So we add this 2 portion, 1 by 2 plus 1 by 6, and we get the answer. The LCM of 2 and 6 is 6. Now we divide this 6 by 2 and we get 3. 3 is multiplied with this 1 and we get 3 ones are 3, plus 6 is divided by this 6 and we get 1. 1 is multiplied with this 1 and it will be 1 ones are 1. So we add 3 and 1, we get 4 by 6. Student, notice there is a common divisor between numerator and denominator, which is 2. Now we cut 4 and 6 by 2. That means 2 2s are 4 and 2 3s are 6. So 2 as numerator and 3 as denominator. So in mud and water, the portion of a pole is 2/3, and it is the answer. Okay. Our next question, what is the remaining portion above water? What is the remaining portion above water? Student, notice in water and in mud the portion is given, but this portion is not given. So we want to consider that the total length of the total length of the portion is 1. Total length of the portion is 1, and in mud and water the total portion is 2/3. So we subtract this 2/3 from 1 and we get the portion which is above water. So 1 minus 2/3. So if we know that every number has a denominator which is 1. So we consider 1, and between 1 and 3 the LCM is 3. So using 1 and 3 we find the LCM which is 3. Now divide this LCM by this denominator, that means 1. If we divide 3 by 1 we get 3, and this 3 is multiplied with numerator which is 1. So 3 1s are 3. Next, this minus sign is here. Now we divide this 3 by 3 and we get 1. 1 is multiplied with this 2 and it will be 2 1s are 2. If we subtract 2 from 3 then we get 1/3. So we can say that the remaining portion above water is 1/3 portion. 1/3 portion. Number C question is, what is the total length of the pole? What is the total length of the pole? Student, in question number B we consider the total length of the pole be 1 portion. The total length of the pole be 1 portion and 1 portion, and we find out the length of the pole. From the figure we notice that here above water the length of the portion is 1/3 and the length is 2 meter. The portion is 1/3 and length is 2 meter. So from this question we can write 1/3 portion equal to 2 meter. Do you understand? Student, notice 1/3 portion and 2 meter both are equal. 1/3 portion and 2 meter both are equal. For this reasons we write here 1/3 portion equal to 2 meter. Here we consider the total length of the portion is 1. So now we find out the total portion, that means 1 portion equal to what? So how can we find? We divide 2 divided by 1/3 meter and we get the answer. Now we solve 2 and this division sign will be changed and this fraction will be reversed. That means denominator will be numerator and numerator will be denominator. That means 3/1. Now we multiply this 2 with 3 and we get 6. So 6 meter is the answer. 6 meter is the answer. Student, I discuss here this math shortly. You need to solve this math in details and it is your SW. Okay, my dear students, please do your assign SW in your SW copy, and you have to submit your wall SW copies on every Sunday within 8 AM to 2 PM in the library, and collect these SW copies on every Sunday from the library. Guardians or anyone else can come to school for submitting or picking up these copies. Okay, my dear students, and submit it Wednesday. Sorry, you collect it copies from library Wednesday. Okay, my dear students, our today's lecture is finished. I hope you have understood our today's lecture. Keep practicing at home and abide by your parents. See you soon. Till then, assalamu alaikum. Thank you.